Hello, welcome back everybody. Nice to see you all. Hope you're doing well. So we're continuing to read Bhagavad Gita as it is, trying to get some spiritual knowledge to assist in our life, and we can deal with our problems and challenges that we often face, sometimes even on daily basis. Whether we are struggling individually or collectively, we will see how we can overcome certain challenges, whether physically or mentally, by implementing this spiritual transcendental knowledge in our life and by applying it effectively. So let's see what's happening to Arjuna. Arjuna is about to fight the war of his life, the greatest battle that was ever conducted on this earth. So Arjuna is the greatest warrior on the battlefield, as we discussed before. Probably not the greatest, but one of the greatest. Because Bhishma Dev, his grandfather, he could finish Pandavas and their army in very short period of time. He was really powerful. All his life he was a king, and he gave a vow of a brahmachari. That means the vow of celibacy. He stayed celibate all his life. Arjuna's grandfather. So he was really powerful because all that energy that we usually use for reproduction was transformed into physical strength and spiritual energy. Therefore, actually, it's so important in different traditions for monks to preserve semen, because celibate life helps you to control your senses and to progress spiritually. And then one might ask, what about women? So their power is in their chastity, which is also sort of celibacy, right? So their chastity, by the power of women's chastity, just one woman who has fully developed her chastity she can rule the world. Obviously, it's stated in the Shastra, and when I say world, it doesn't mean country or this earth planet, rather the whole universe. Like she can, in the Vedas, there is given examples where woman was so chaste that she could save her husband from death, or when he already died, she could, defeat the demigod of death, Yamaraja, and ask him to bring her husband back, and he could not fight against that, her strength, her power that was produced due to her chastity. Anyway, if you want to hear this story, I think I recorded one of the episodes. You gotta check Love and Devotion, or one of those episodes in the Love series, What is Love? So you can see for yourself, you can hear. That's really powerful stuff. So anyway, let's see. One of the greatest warriors on the battlefield, he is confused, he doesn't know what to do, which is really strange. Because everyone else knew what to do, everyone was ready to fight, everyone blew their conch. So text 29. Vepadhuscha sharirimi roma harshascha jayati gandivam sramsati hastat tvakcheva paridahyati. My whole body is trembling, my hair is standing on end, my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. There are two kinds of trembling of the body, and two kinds of standings on the hair on end. Such phenomena occur either in great spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear under material conditions. There is no fear in transcendental realization. Arjuna's symptoms in this situation are out of material fear, namely loss of life. This is evident from other symptoms also. He became so impatient that his famous bow Gandiva was slipping from his hands, and because his heart was burning within him, he was feeling a burning sensation of the skin. All this are due to a material conception of life. So, can you just imagine? As I said, out of all warriors, he was one of the greatest warriors on the battlefield. He knew he was doing the right thing, But still, it never happened to him before. He was part of many battles before. He fought against many great warriors. It never happened to him that his body trembled, his hair stand on end. But moreover, the bow that he used to carry with him all the time, it slipped from his hands. That never happened to him before. So something unusual is happening. Moreover, Arjuna is a very spiritually educated person. So for him to experience fear and especially to think that he's gonna die, thinking himself to be the material body, which he is not, like he knows that he's full of transcendental knowledge, he understands he's not this body, he's a spirit soul. And for spirit soul there is no death, which we'll hear later on in the Bhagavad Gita, but all of this he knew, so then he still experienced these emotions, and that was really weird. Even he himself, he thought, that's weird, I never experienced this, why is this happening? So because he's one of the greatest devotees of the Lord, of God, right? So God, he needs to help us to come out of our illusion, to understand who we actually are and how to be spiritually happy. Our problem on our side is that we think we can be happy by material means, right? We striving for different material successes in life. You know, we'll try to set up the family, try to have a good career, make a lot of money, buy a nice house, a car, make sure that, you know, when we have children, they are educated, well-dressed, well-fed, and they will grow up and become a good man or woman. So, you know, we have a lot of material goals. And the problem is we are not getting fulfillment, the inner happiness, by striving towards these goals. And that is specifically prominent in the current time of coronavirus pandemic. And people now, like, you know, they're staying with their partner in the same room for, you know, days and weeks and months. If you're in Melbourne, you probably spend a couple of months together, and you probably can't look at each other's face anymore because you're sick of it. It gets boring. There is saturation of emotions. So all of these problems arise from our attachment to material things, thinking that material objects can satisfy us and can make us happy within ourselves, which is not true at all. So therefore, to show us and to give us the real knowledge of how to be really happy, God has to arrange for such a situation where Arjuna becomes confused, which he never was, but because Arjuna is a great devotee of the Lord, he is ready to play a role on behalf of everyone else in the world to make sure that everybody else gets the benefit of the spiritual knowledge. So Arjuna plays this role to benefit the whole world. And he gets bewildered by the energy of the Lord. So he sort of forgets his spiritual knowledge. But again, that's just a very temporary forgetfulness for him because, as I said before, there is a purpose behind that forgetfulness. Usually Arjuna, he knows exactly what to do, he knows exactly the spiritual science, and he doesn't get bewildered by such things, but someone had to play a role of the person who is confused and doesn't understand his spiritual identity. And Arjuna, as a perfect devotee of the Lord, could take such a role to benefit everyone else. And another interesting point in this text is that Prabhupada writes that there are two types of trembling of the body and two types of standing of the hair on end, and that's sometimes your body can tremble and shake because you are scared. You will see in horror movies, you know, people are scared and there's like some music is playing and this group of young men and women, their car stalled in the middle of the forest, then they go to this empty house. God knows why they go into this empty house, which looks really scary from the outside. I would just stay in the car, I don't know. But somehow they end up in this house and they have to walk around the house, right? You scream that no one is in the house, then you gotta go and check every single nook and spot of the house, that no one is actually there, which is really doesn't make any sense. But that music is playing, and then you sometimes the actors in the movie play a role that their body is trembling and shaking, you know, like what's gonna happen, and then you're also sitting there watching the movie, you know, biting your fingernails, and sometimes don't want to look because you know something is gonna like come out. Some music will, like, you know, there'll be some sound effect like bang, and then some lights will turn on, and then there's some murderer is there, you know, with a knife chasing after these people. So anyway, like your body is trembling out of fear. So Prabhupada explains sometimes your body can tremble out of ecstasy, out of complete bliss and happiness, ecstatic emotions. And why is this so important? Why am I mentioning this? Is because often we might think, what are the symptoms of people who are experiencing happiness which is beyond material world, right? How do you know that this guru in front of you, or Sadguru, or any guru, Swami, or any so-called spiritualist or yoga teacher is experiencing happiness? You ask him, oh, you know, like, are you always happy? And then they'll say, yeah, of course. But the actuals, you gotta judge the symptoms of the person. You can't just trust the words of the person, because there's so many people who want to cheat us for our money, or, you know, false prestige or whatever. So how do we know who to trust? So if you want to see a person experiencing spiritual or transcendental bliss or inner happiness, you gotta watch his spiritual practice, and during that practice he will experience trembling of the body, hair stand on end, and in full ecstasy he'll be smiling. Sometimes the eyes will roll or something, you know, body will shake. So that's actually spiritual ecstatic emotions. But you don't see these things nowadays, because everybody, like 99% of these false gurus and yoga teachers, they're just cheating people. They have something which is just above physical, material happiness, just a little bit above, but still it's on the subtle psychological level. It's nothing to do with the spiritual reality, nothing to do with the spiritual ecstasy. So be really careful, that's my warning. And let's go on, let's see so Arjuna in this situation, he's actually experiencing fear due to the material conception of life. That's what we usually experience, that kind of fear. You know, coronavirus, we read the news, we watch the news, and then we are scared, you know, sometimes, like, you know, you can't fall asleep, your body could be shaking, you'll be sweating under the Duna cover, thinking, what's going on, you know, what's going to happen to the world? And beyond that, you can't even imagine what's going to happen to the economy and to the crime rates later on this year and next year. So don't think about that for now. I don't want you to stress out more. Let's see what's going on with Arjuna. Text 30. Nacha shaknomya vasthatum brahmati vacha me mana nimitani cha pashyami viparitani keshava. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I'm forgetting myself and my mind is reeling. I see only causes of misfortune. O Krishna, killer of the Keshi demon. Purport. Due to his impatience, Arjuna was unable to stay on the battlefield, and he was forgetting himself on account of this weakness of his mind. Excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. Bayam dvitya bini veshata syat. This is the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 2, Text 37. If you've seen my previous episodes, I have a set of books on the top of my shelf that's called Srimad Bhagavatam. You can order one for yourself. You can contact Hare Krishna temple, the one you have in your city, whether you're in Sydney, Melbourne, or anywhere, you know, in any other part of the world. There is usually one temple, and you can go on their website and purchase the full set of Srimad Bhagavatam. You can buy Bhagavad Gita online. I'm sure they will deliver it to you. And it's not so expensive, but these books are just the jewel of all the Vedic literature, and if you're a real scientist, you would like to explore these books. So I highly recommend you. They will help you spiritually as well as materially to solve different problems and to experience transcendental bliss. So anyway, what does this verse mean from Srimad Bhagavatam? It means such fearfulness and loss of mental equilibrium take place in persons who are too affected by material conditions. Arjuna envisioned only painful reverses in the battlefield. He would not be happy even by gaining victory over the foe. The words nimittani viparitani are significant. When a man sees only frustration in his expectations, he thinks, why am I here? Everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self. Arjuna is showing ignorance of his real self-interest by Krishna's will. One's real self-interest lies in Vishnu or Krishna. The conditioned soul forgets this and therefore suffers material pains. Arjuna thought that his victory in the battle would only be a cause of lamentation for him. So, not only Arjuna's bow is slipping from the hand, but also he is he's not able to stand on the battlefield any longer. He's about to collapse. That's how stressful he was. And sometimes we are so stressful. We come back from our work, working all day, and maybe nowadays we're working inside. Still, we get really tired and stressful. And sometimes we just collapse after work. We just lie down, and even though we've been working online, still it's mentally really demanding. So, moreover, Arjuna is forgetting himself, and his mind is reeling. So that's what happens to us also. And for us, it's such a big surprise. Sometimes we forget something, like, oh, I forgot where I put my keys. Like, it's usually really weird. Or where I put my phone. Sometimes you just put your phone somewhere and then you go walk around and you try to find it. Where is it? And can't see it, and you check all the spots. Can't find your phone, and it becomes really bewildering. Like, how could I forget where I put my phone? And for us, it's really exciting or very surprising, very, unexpected emotion. We're like, how could we forget where we put our phone? But think about, if I ask you what you did at the same time a week ago, it would be really difficult to recall. If I ask you what you did at the same time 15 days ago, it would be even more difficult to remember, by just not looking at your phone and dates, but just try to remember, okay. It's tough, and we're always forgetting something. Actually, we are always forgetting. Try to remember what you did when you were 2 years old in September, on the 9th of September. You can't. Memory, it's the nature of the memory that we always forget, actually. We think that we always remember everything, and then when we forget something, just because we become aware of it, it becomes like a big surprise. Oh, how could I forget? Actually, we're always forgetting. We are always bewildered. We are always in illusion. So it's not really surprising, like if someone told you that reincarnation is the reality, one might argue, if I lived before, why I can't remember? Well, hold on, you can't even remember what you did like a week ago, and you're trying to, kind of remember what you did. You can't remember what you did when you were like 2 or 3 months old, or like 1 year old. You just can't. And we're trying to say like, I can't remember, why can't I remember my previous life? It's like, it's been such a long time. Some kids can actually remember their previous life. There's been many instances you can check on YouTube. I'm pretty sure there are different shows and different documentaries where kids actually could recall their previous life, and then they would go to that place, they would show people around, they would show different places to their parents and say, look, I've been there. And then the people who still live in that place, they could recall, wow, that person actually is, that your child was actually the person that we used to know, and he died like 5 years ago. So many documentaries like this. So don't discount them. Just because they're not popular doesn't mean it's all like, I don't know, false belief and science fiction or something. No, you gotta look for the facts. So don't be surprised if you forget something, it's natural. And at this present moment, as we discussed, as Prabhupada writes again in the purport, that's by Krishna's will that Arjuna is showing ignorance, otherwise he is self-realized person. So sometimes he actually chose to play a role. He said, Krishna, I will play a role, you can do whatever you want with me. I will help you to in your mission to make other people happy for the benefit of the whole world. So that's why he's forgetting himself. And so what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the cause of our stress, our forgetfulness, our trembling of the body, depression? So excessive attachment for material things puts a man in such a bewildering condition of existence. So when we are too attached to material objects as a means for happiness and sense gratification, that's when we start experiencing that forgetfulness. We start become illusioned and become stressed out and feel anxiety and fear, bewilderment, and sometimes envy towards other people. So all these negative feelings and emotions, they all come out due to our attachment to material things. So when we're affected by material conditions, we experience such unpleasant emotions. So at this point, Arjuna thinks that his victory in the battle would only be the cause of lamentation for him, and he doesn't see any benefits of the war, right? He forgot everything what happened before to him, to the Pandavas, how they've been cheated, how his wife was undressed in the assembly by the people by Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra, the people that he is fighting against now. So he forgot all of this. Just as we forget good things in life, we start blaming. When something good happens to us, we're saying, "Oh, it's because I'm such a great person. That's why, I'm a really good person. That's why I could, achieve such great things in life, and I could, perform some wonderful activities, like I could do some charity. I made a lot of money because I worked hard." So whatever good in our life happens, we attribute it to ourselves. But whenever bad things happen to us, and especially on a more broader level and collective level, then we are ready to blame God, right? Then it's his fault, not ours. Not like humans were eating like animals, and from which actually, because of that relationship, unhealthy relationship, actually our relationship with animals is different. It's that of love, actually showing care towards animals. So somehow or other we're showing care to the dogs and cats, but we are eating cows and other animals. So that's just a big problem of our current society. And moreover, other humans are eating like wildlife animals, from which apparently coronavirus is coming from. So that is just very degenerating activity of human society that is causing all these problems. Nothing to do with God. We are the cause of our problem. So that's why when we are frustrated in our expectations, we're expecting to be happy in this material world, but then we become frustrated. We start asking, why am I here? What's the purpose of life, and why is God doing this to me? But as Prabhupada states, he underlines our selfish, egoistic nature by stating everyone is interested in himself and his own welfare. No one is interested in the Supreme Self, in the Supreme God. So that is our problem. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our discussion. I hope you like it, and please, if you do, give us a like and subscribe to Mantra College for more interesting videos, and leave your questions in the comments below. I really sincerely hope that some of you may become interested in your own spiritual journey, and therefore those who are really true to themselves, those who are real to themselves, they will actually start questioning who they are and what's the purpose in life. And if you have any other some of these questions, they might facilitate the discussion and you might benefit everyone else. So please leave your questions in the comments below, they'll be really helpful. Otherwise, I'll see you soon. Hare Krishna.